guys, my name is Julia. Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to see you here. Welcome to the first talking video of 2024, and that is a special one. I am officially adding a new content pillar to my channel, and that is books. I have been a reader my whole life, and then I took a break for a year and a half because of everything going on in my home country and in the world. But reading brings me so much comfort and peace and joy, and I was just ready to get back into my reading era, and I've read 4 books in January. I am so happy to be back reading again. I have wanted to talk about books and share this part of my life for a while, to be honest, and describing books is not my strong suit, but I have always been the person who is willing to try, so I am doing it, and I am so excited to share all of the things books related. I'm gonna post a lot of reviews and recommendations and TBRs and reading blogs, and I am so excited to start this journey. I predominantly read romance, but I also read thrillers and detective stories. I'm a big Agatha Christie's fan, and we're also gonna talk about her books, my favorite ones. And I like adventure books, so I read a little bit of everything. I read fantasy also, but predominantly the genre that I read is romance, so this is what type of books I'm going to be predominantly recommending. This video I am so excited to film because we're gonna start with a bang, and I'm gonna talk about my favorite book series that I have not seen anyone talking about, to be honest, and that is really exciting because I have some of my favorite romance books in this series. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about them, and without further ado, let's get started. First up, we have The Game series by Emma Hart. These are 4 standalone books. Each one follows a different couple. You can read them out of order. Obviously, you have to read them in order if you want to understand who all of the characters are, but it doesn't really take away from the stories. So you can absolutely read them however you want. The first book follows Braden and Maddie. This is a good girl, bad boy, reformed player trope. And I really love the story. This one is also what I like to call the bad trope, but they both do it. So it's kind of like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days type of vibe. So he has to make her fall in love with him, and she has to make him fall in love with her, but they end up falling for each other for real. And I really love the story, really love the bad aspect of it, and how like all of this progressed. Love it. But my absolute favorite in this series is definitely book number 2. The second book follows Megan and Aston. Megan is Braden's childhood best friend. They grew up together, their families grew up together. And then Aston and Braden are in the same college. They're in the same fraternity, I believe, if I remember correctly, but they go to the same college and they kind of hanging out together. Aston has a very tragic past, and we get glimpses of everything that has been happening to him as he's remembering it throughout the book, and it is so heartbreaking. He is just like, he doesn't believe that he is worthy of love. He does not want to hurt the other person because of his past and like his insecurities. So he's like a damaged hero. He doesn't want to hurt other people, so he just sticks to casual things. And Megan, she had a crush on Aston for a while. They're in literature class together, and Megan knows that Braden would absolutely not approve this relationship, but she's like, I really like this guy. I've seen like glimpses of him that he's not really showing to other people. Like, I know he can be sweet, and he's also smart. Like, we are in literature class together, and he also participates in discussions and all of that. So she's like, I believe that there is more to him than what he lets on to believe about himself. So she's like, I'm gonna make the first move, and so she does, and this is how the relationship starts. It is a forbidden romance. It is, again, bad boy, good girl. It is healing journey type of trope, because we follow how Megan breaks down Aston's walls and how he opens up to her, and how Megan makes him believe that he is worthy of love. I absolutely love this book. This is one of the most romantic books that I've ever read. This is one of the most romantic books set in college that I've ever read, and you can just feel the connection and the chemistry between our two main characters, and it is just so beautiful. And I love spicy romance as much as the next girl. This one is not really spicy. It has a couple of scenes, but they are not descriptive. Obviously, proceed with caution. Like, I don't want to like recommend like if you don't want spice at all, but it doesn't really have much spice. It is one of the most like sensual and like passionate and romantic story that I've ever read. I am obsessed how real the romance in this book feels. You know, sometimes when you read books, everything is kind of like over the top and you're like, yeah, it doesn't really happen like that in real life. The things that are happening in this book, like the dates that the two of them go on and like the progression of the relationship, absolutely happens in real life quite a lot. I really appreciated this about this book. So it's really romantic, but it absolutely feels real. I really, really enjoyed this about this book. I also really connected to the characters. Megan, when I was reading this book for the first time, I was like, you know that TikTok sound? Is this a play about us? Like, that was me throughout this book because Megan reminded me so much of myself. Sweet, loves to read, confident, goes after what she wants, because I am the type of person, if I like someone, I'm gonna like tell them. It was really exciting to read this book because I felt a really strong connection to the main female protagonist. Also really enjoyed that about this book. Rain scene. I'm gonna leave it here because the rain scene in this book is perfection. Perfection. When someone says rain scene, most people think about the movie, The Notebook. I think about this book. I'm gonna leave it at that. It is an amazing book. Absolutely amazing book. My favorite in this series. Definitely in my top 5 romance books of all time. The third book in this series is a bit heavier than I like. It is not my favorite in this series. Please proceed with caution. Check trigger warnings. Should check trigger warnings with all of these books, but especially the third one. Book number 4 though. The second one is my favorite, followed closely by the fourth one. Book number 4 has one of the best description of how different people experience grief. This book made me so emotional. This is like the first romance book that made me cry. I don't usually cry when reading books. I always like feel all the feelings and like it absolutely pulls on my heart, but it takes a special book to make me cry, and this one absolutely did that. We follow Kyle and Roxy. They both lost an important person in their lives. Roxy lost her brother, Kyle lost his best friend. They have been really close, like the three of them together. And Kyle went away to college, and the way he experienced grief, like he keeps it all to himself, doesn't really talk about it. And then Roxy, she turned to alcohol and she just became a completely different person. Kyle doesn't really know about that because he kind of like needed his space, and like this is like how he processed all of that. But then Roxy's parents, they needed help with the ranch or the cafeteria. I don't really remember, but they need help. And Kyle comes back for spring break, back to his hometown, and he meets Roxy again. He hasn't seen her for a year, I believe. I again don't really remember like those tiny details, but he hasn't seen Roxy for some time. And when he comes back, she's just a completely different person, and she's turned into all of those things that are not healthy. And Kyle is like, I want my Roxy back. I want to help her. And it's kind of like them trying to like make the burden lighter by being together, like them falling in love in the process, and like Kyle helping Roxy. This is such a beautiful story of healing and grief, and just how these tragedies like affect us and our family dynamics and all of that. As someone who has lost a loved one, I can totally relate to that. And when I read this book, I at that point in life, I haven't experienced that, but I still felt everything that these characters were feeling. I have no words for this book. Like thinking about this now, I have an even bigger appreciation for this book. And yeah, check trigger warnings, but this book is so amazing. These two characters together, the way that they balance each other out. Kyle is more on the shy, quieter side. He's a quiet guy. And then Droxy is this sassy little firecracker, and they just balance each other out so well. I really love this book. Here's how you know that this book is amazing. This book is a 5-star read, even though it has a third act breakup. I know that people are not a fan of those, myself included, but this one was done so right. This is a type of third act breakup that absolutely made sense. If I was in the shoes of that person, I would absolutely do the same thing. I understand why it happened. As I was reading it, I was like, I understand that this needs to be done, but like don't do it. It broke my heart when like the breakup happened, but the way it progressed the relationship and just how these two like became stronger because of it, and how it helped Roxy understand like what she was missing by indulging in those unhealthy behaviors. Love this book. I cried, I laughed, I enjoyed every single moment of this book. The next series I'm gonna recommend is The Ivy Chronicles by Sophie Jordan. These are 3 standalone books. We follow a group of 3 girls, and each book is each girl's story. Again, can be read out of order. This is the first book. I feel like this is, according to Goodreads, the most popular one in the series. This is obviously Spicy Lessons trope. This is obviously Spicy Lessons trope. It kind of reminds me of The Deal by Elle Kennedy, in the sense that our main female protagonist has a crush on this guy and she really wants to get his attention. He's kind of like doesn't really give it to her, so she asks the other guy in exchange for like, I think she has to like help him babysit his nieces or like cousins. I don't remember, there are kids in this book, so it kind of reminds me of The Deal by Elle Kennedy. It is a really cute story. I will say our main girl Peppa sometimes makes really questionable decisions, let me tell you. Like sometimes I'm reading this, I'm like, really? Like this is not smart, girl. Nonetheless, I really enjoy the story. The second book in the series is my favorite. Apparently I have a thing about the second book in the series, but this one follows Emerson Shaw. Emerson is obviously Peppa's friend. Emerson has a reputation of like playing around, not a commitment type of person. Something happened to her when she was a teenager, like early teenage years, and her family, instead of taking her side, they took the side of the other party. And her family is just awful. They think that she is a disappointment because of everything that happened. She is like, I don't want nothing to do with love. I'm comfortable with just hookups and all of that. One night she gets super drunk at a party, and Shaw, I believe, was a designated driver. Again, my brain is a little bit hazy. I read these books like 4 years ago. Don't really remember like tiny details, but I believe that he was a designated driver, and so he like takes Emerson home. So he takes Emerson home, and Emerson is like, she sees that Shaw is like this really cute, hot guy, so she like hits on him, and he's like completely not having it. It's like puts her in her place, and she's like, this doesn't happen. Like usually guys are like really happy and like for like what I'm about to offer and all of that, and Shaw is like not having it. She becomes intrigued, and they keep bumping into each other in different circumstances, and it is their story. I loved our main guy, Shaw. He's ex-Navy, he's protective, he's grumpy, but so soft and gentle with our girl Emerson. I'm swooning. Definitely book boyfriend material. I absolutely loved how he broke down Emerson's walls, but he like was really like, he was able to challenge her and like put her in her place when she needed to be put there. It was not like jealous and like forceful, like it was completely normal, but he was like, I see right through you, like this is all an act, like this persona that you have, this persona that you created for yourself, like this is not who you truly are, you're scared. I really love how he challenged her, how he made her believe that she is worthy of love, helped her stand up to her bullies and her family. I do not want to spoil what happens, but this story is absolutely amazing. The way these two are meant for each other is just, you will have no doubts that these two are meant to be together. She is also an artist, like she will have her paintings in an exhibition, and she's like preparing for that, and she like has to paint this picture to be approved to, you know, have her work in an exhibition. And Shaw is also a biker, ex-Navy and biker. Are you kidding me? It's like every book talk girl's fantasy. Anyways, I enjoyed this book. The story is great, the drama is great, the relationship is great. I totally recommend this book. And then the third book, we follow Georgia's story. Georgia is a typical good girl, does everything by the book. All she wants is to have her parents' approval. All she wants is to make her parents proud. Her parents like laid out a path for her to follow, and she follows it and doesn't want to stray away from that. Her life is basically like all planned out until her boyfriend of 4 years breaks up with her because he's like, you are boring, I am bored, I'm out. And her parents are not having it, like they're really disappointed with Georgia, and Georgia is like, I have to get this guy back because this is what my parents would have wanted. And she's like, I need to do something that is not boring. So she goes to this party that has kind of inappropriate theming going on. She meets Logan. Logan is Reese's younger brother. Reese is the guy in the first book, and Logan has like, he's definitely like a playboy type of guy, definitely has like the biggest playboy reputation in town. And she's like, if I can get his attention, like if people see that I'm hanging out with him, then this guy maybe like will not think that I'm boring and he will take me back. And so Georgia kisses Logan, and she's like nothing is going to happen, and our boy Logan becomes obsessed. It's definitely, he falls first. She makes the first move, but he falls first, and it's kind of the relationship. This one is the spiciest of all three books. This series is more spicy than the previous series that I talked about. So again, if you don't like that, proceed with caution, but this book is more spicy than the other two, definitely. I remember that I really enjoyed the way Logan helped Georgia break out of her parents' shadow and live her life for herself, do what she wants, don't be a people pleaser that she always has been, and I really loved it. The next series I'm recommending is Whitman University by Lila Payne. This one has 5 books. Again, interconnected standalones, can be read out of order. I feel like you should read this one in order more than you should read the other 2 in order, my opinion, but you can read them however you want. I enjoyed all of the books, but I'm gonna be talking about the first 2. The first book I really enjoyed for the plot. The plot of this book, love it so much. We follow Quinn and Emily. Quinn is a tennis player, but he had an injury, he's now retired. Quinn also has a really twisted family dynamic. His father is this crazy rich guy. He also has a stepbrother who is just not a good person, and his stepbrother Sebastian has videos of Quinn doing some really questionable things, and he's blackmailing him with them. And in order for Sebastian not to reveal those videos to the public, like he comes up with a plan that Quinn obviously has to do that, of them throwing a party, and Sebastian picks a girl that Quinn basically has to make this girl fall in love with him, and then when this girl is completely head over heels for him, break up with her and like completely break her heart. This is a scheme, like they've done it a lot of times, and the story follows the period of time where the girl that ends up being chosen is our main female character, Emily. And we kind of have the not like other girls trope, you know, people don't like it, but she's just different from like how, because usually girls like throw themselves at Quinn, and like these things are very easy, like this whole process of making the girl fall in love with him, like it's very easy. But Emily is different, and she's like really strong, like doesn't take anyone's bullshit, and she just doesn't really fall for Quinn's charm at first, but you know, they end up falling in love. I absolutely love the story. I loved how Emily reacted, like when she found out. Like, she's such a strong character. Their partner in crime dynamic, like how they balance each other out. How Emily puts Quinn in his place, but is also not really scared of his past, and like stands up for him, and he stands up for her. I really enjoyed the dynamic, and I love this book mainly for the plot. Quinn is like, I feel like this is like the start of the morally gray character that we now enjoy in general. Like, this is definitely, but I feel like that book was the start for me, like start of my love for morally gray characters. It's not like the classic morally gray. You get what I mean. He makes some questionable decisions, but you root for him, and I really enjoy the story. Definitely, like, really amazing plot. Love the story so much. The first book I love for the plot. The second book I love mostly for the characters. Second book we follow Ruby and Cole. Ruby is Emily's best friend. She's a theater kid, and I immediately connected with her because when I read this book, I was a theater kid. So it was really fun reading about someone who does the same thing as I did, and really love that about this book. Ruby, at this point in life, she's not looking for a committed relationship. She just wants to have fun, but she wants passion and connection, and for there to be chemistry between her and like the guy that she's hanging out with. And she has not been getting it lately. Like, all the guys she's been with were kind of meh, and she's like, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna take matters into my own hands. So she creates this app with an anonymous database where, like, with a database of all the guys on campus, and the girls can rate the guys anonymously, like saying how great they are to hang out with, how great they are in bed, all of that. And based on like what she sees there, she's like choosing her potential like friends with benefits type of thing. And then we have Cole. I don't really remember if he is in theater group with her. I'm pretty sure that he is, or they're just like bumping into each other in certain settings, because there is like he might be a doctor. I'm so sorry, like, I don't really remember. They see each other a lot, and Ruby sees that Cole has the lowest ranking in her database, and she's like, I don't understand. He's super hot, he's really nice, he comes from this crazy rich family, like what is going on? Like, he just like does not strike me as a playboy, like how someone who breaks hearts, and like I don't understand why he has the lowest ranking. And she's like intrigued. She's like, what is going on? And it's basically their story. Ruby also has insecurities about her personality, like about where she comes from, like her family, all of that. You have to read this book. I'm not trying to spoil it, but she has her insecurities, and that is also one of the reasons she's not really looking for a committed relationship. Like, she's not comfortable, all of that. And it's basically how Cole helps her like change her mind, and like these two opening up to each other and dealing with their insecurities together, and helping each other understand that they are not defined by their pasts. And Cole also has a past, and this is a big spoiler, so I'm not gonna spoil it. But I really love this story, the characters and the relationship dynamic. Really enjoyed this book. And this is all I have for today. I really hope that you found new books that you'd like to add to your TBR. And I am again so excited, and that you enjoyed this video. This one took a while to film and edit. This is probably my third try filming this video, so I would really appreciate your feedback. If you have any requests regarding book content, leave them down below. I am so excited to start this journey with y'all, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!